Hi, it's Jackie with Panama Relocation Tours. Thank you for joining us for our Saturday live stream. Today I'm going to introduce you to someone who lives in a beach area in Panama. So I'll interview him in just a little bit. First, I have a couple of announcements that I want to make. First, I want to acknowledge that Debbie Klappa, it says Chuck and Debbie in the chat room, but it's Debbie Klappa is our moderator. She's here every single Saturday, so thank you so much, Debbie. Also, for the benefit of those that are new to our channel, just want to give you a little bit of background. My name's Jackie Lang, and I'm the owner of Panama Relocation Tours. Since 2010, we've been offering all-inclusive 6-day, 7-night tours that take people across Panama and show them all the wonderful places to live. And it's like a rolling seminar because we're also teaching you all the things you need to know so you can have a smooth move to Panama. We just finished tour number 245. So 245 tours that we've done, and we've helped many thousands of people move to Panama the right way. So for some more information about that, you can go to our website at PanamaRelocationTours.com. I should warn you that our tours are sold out until about the middle of September. We're doing 3 tours a month, but they're sold out until about the middle of September. Seems a lot of people want to come on down to Panama, and they should because it's an amazing place to live. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce our guest, Tim. Bring you on here. So let me turn your unmute your microphone. Just a second. Okay. Can you hear me, Tim?
I sure can. Hi, Jackie.
Okay. Hi, Tim. Thank you so much for agreeing to be my guest on the live stream today. So let's start with a little bit of background. Where did you move from and where did you move to in Panama?
Sure. The last place I lived in the United States with my wife, Janet, was in Tempe, Arizona. And it was very, very, very hot in Tempe. We came originally in 2021 for an investigative tour. You weren't doing tours then, it was during COVID, and we couldn't get on a tour subsequently, so we had a private tour, and we really, really, really enjoyed the beach areas, Coronado, Gorgona, Rio Hato, some of the other beach areas on the Pacific side.
Yeah, I forgot to mention that in the introduction. In addition to our all-inclusive 6-day, 7-night tours that we go across country, we also offer private tours of just specific areas. So you already knew you really wanted to live in the beach area. So it made sense for you to see just a private tour of the beaches area, like between Chame and Rio Hato. There's so many different beach communities there. So private tours, we have private tours of just Panama City or Boquete or Bocan or Bocas del Toro or David, anywhere in the Azora Peninsula. We have private tours everywhere. So if you know that you want to live in a particular area, then a private tour is the right way to go. So after you did that private tour, you said, this is it. This is where I want to move to, right?
We did, and then we went back home and started the process of getting rid of a lot of our personal effects or our household effects that we knew we were not going to bring down here.
Got back as fast as you could, right?
We sure did. We about a year and change later, we came down.
So you moved to Gorgona, and for people that don't know, Gorgona is just a few miles east of Coronado and about an hour and a half west of Panama City. So after looking at all the different beach communities that are available along the Pacific Riviera, as they call it, why did you choose Gorgona? What really attracted you to that area?
Well, it's interesting. Gorgona is a little less populated than an area like Coronado, as an example.
Right.
A little less busy. We had come from a very busy environment. We wanted to slow down, and Gorgona was perfect. We got into a community here in our apartment building, the oceanfront condominium, Gorgona Oceanfront. It's a smaller condominium area. The people are very nice. It's a great community. And when we need to, we're about 10, 15 minutes from Coronado by car. We also, when we first got here, we didn't have a car, so we rode in a taxi a lot. Very convenient for the taxi, very convenient for us but much quieter, much smaller
It's
than the
quieter. It's
Panamanian.
also more affordable.
Yes.
Like compared to Coronado or San Carlos, it's much
Mhm.
more affordable in the Gorgona area, but you're still looking at the same Pacific Ocean.
Exactly.
So yeah, you can save a lot of money by moving there. So tell us about the place that you moved to, you and your wife moved to.
Sure. We went to in our tour of 21, we were actually brought to this unit, or brought to
Mhm.
this condo as a place that we might be interested in moving to. When we got back down, it was on the top of our list of all of the places that we'd seen in this area. We just really enjoyed the community, the people that are here. But most of all, we pay $800 a month for a eighth floor condo with a view of the ocean, a view of the mountains, and behind us a view of Coronado. So, I mean,
800 a month.
yes,
Wow.
ma'am.
Yeah,
Yeah, we
like I
really,
said, it's more affordable in the Gorgona area.
yeah. It's a 3 bedroom, 2 bathroom condo. It's perfect for us. We just really are enjoying it, and we're just
Mhm.
having a great time.
Now, is the 800, did it come completely furnished or partially furnished?
Yes, ma'am. So it did come completely furnished, although we did bring our own couch. We brought mattresses because we are a little bit, you sleep about
Yeah.
a third of your time. So we wanted to be comfortable. And we brought a lot of kitchen gadgets. I love to cook. Janet loves to bake. And so we brought a lot of that stuff down, but it was fully furnished and fully ready to go. It was a plug and play. We were able to move in and we were there.
Now, when did you move there again, Tim?
It was, gosh, it was 23, January of 23. So we've been
Okay.
here just over 16 months now.
Okay. Good. Good. So, in that time, it's a pretty close-knit community there. Have you met a lot
Yes.
of friends? What are some ways that you can meet friends in the Gorgona area? I know
Sure.
there's used to be Las Ruinas, and now it's called Hawaii Restaurants, kind of a hangout. But what are some other things?
Yes, ma'am. There's a lot of social activities that you can do. My wife is quite crafty. She's an artist. So there's a place called the Art Zone. And the Art Zone offers, as an example, opportunities to get together with other people of like minds who like to paint. And they give painting classes or ceramic classes or do those sorts of things. And they advertise when those are, and you're welcome just to make a reservation and come on in and do those things. Janet's really enjoyed opportunities to do that. But in
Mhm.
addition, we really kind of stick ourselves out there. And I would recommend that highly for anybody that moves to this area. If you want to build community, you really have to kind of put yourself out there to build
Yeah.
community.
Yeah. You can't just sit in your living room and wait for somebody to knock on your door. You got to go out there.
Yes, ma'am. But we found a lot of people, as an example, just while we were walking up and down the aisles of the grocery stores, who we
Mhm.
were trying to find something, and we would ask somebody, do you know where the whatever it is, and we'd strike up conversations, and we met a lot of people that way. We got together with a lot of people. And the other thing is the fondas. If you find fondas, the local restaurants that are really good, and we try to frequent the fondas as much as we can, it helps the local community and helps the
It helps
people that are
local
here.
people. And for
Yeah.
people that don't know, so tell them, what is a fonda?
It's a restaurant that's owned by a local person. It's a smaller restaurant. A lot of times they only take cash. They don't take credit cards because they're not set up that way. But some of the best food, it's just amazing. They have gosh, I'm going to mess up the name, but it's the chicken stew thing with the chicken leg in it, the soup that you get. Absolute,
Sancocho?
that's the stuff. And it
Yes.
is, some of these
I
fondas
love that sancocho soup.
have some of the best of that in the area. Just little places, just little spots around the road. It's just been a
Right.
lot of fun.
And fonda is usually about $5 a meal.
Yeah, it's
Um,
very
yeah, you'll
inexpensive.
get a protein and maybe a little salad or some vegetables and maybe a lemonade or iced tea.
Yeah,
Um,
it's
you
five or
know,
six
a
bucks.
complete meal for about
Yep.
$5. So
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
you can go to those $15 a person restaurants, but it's nice to support the local people and go to the fondas too.
It is. There's one particularly that we like if we get up early enough in the morning, and we're not morning people, but there's one that we like to go to that just serves breakfast, and she does a fabulous job. She'll do pancakes for you, or French toast if you really have a hankering for waffles. She even has a waffle iron. She does a great job putting together a good American breakfast if you want to order one of those. Or
Yeah.
you can get fruit and yogurt and other things that are just regular on the menu. She's really great.
I've had so many people tell me it's not hardly worth it to go buy groceries and cook when you can go to Fonda instead.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
so that's good. So, by the way, if everybody could hold off on your questions, I've got a few questions to ask Tim at the end of my questions or my interview with him. Then I'll open it up for questions from the audience. So if you could hold off on your questions, please. So, since you've been in Panama, people are always asking us, well, what's the healthcare like? What are the doctors like? Have you had any instances where you've had to go to a doctor or experience with the healthcare system in Panama?
Yeah, so I'm a veteran. I'm a disabled veteran. Most of my health care is taken care of by the Veterans Administration.
Mm-hmm.
My wife, however, is not associated. She obviously she doesn't qualify for that yet. So at the end of the day, she and I have other minor issues that we've gone to a local doctor. Dr. Levy is really popular here in the Coronado Gorgona area. First class, he studied in the United States, came back to Panama to set up his practice. And when you need a specialist, he brings a specialist to his office about once a month. Each individual specialist will rotate through his office. There's a neurological ophthalmologist that shows up that I see every now and again to supplement my care with the
Is
VA.
that at the hospital, San Fernando Clinic in Coronado or
No, ma'am.
someplace else?
He just has a clinic right next to this in the same mall area as the Machetazo in
Oh, okay,
Granada.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's really convenient, very easy to find. His staff speaks English very well. They
Mhm.
do all the blood work, all the laboratory work is done there. And when you need a specialist, they tell you what day the specialist is going to be in his office, and they
Right.
schedule
Yeah,
you.
I've seen that on what day the specialists are going to be there. Now,
Yeah.
and it's so great because it could be a 1.5, 2.5, 3 hour drive for you to get into Panama City, depending on when you're going to go to see a
Yes, ma'am.
doctor. It's
Yeah,
so great that the doctors come out to Coronado
it really is.
so that you
Yeah.
don't have to make that drive to come in.
Yeah, and the VA is convenient. It's about 30 minutes away in La Chorrera by car. I mean, it's not inconvenient at all to go to the VA clinic here or to participate in that as well. I also
Right.
continue to maintain my relationship with the VA in the States. When we go back, Janet has a brand new grandbaby in the United States. So when we go back to the States, I always make an appointment at the VA to check in with my VA doctors. All of my
Mhm.
medications from there are mailed to me through Fastbox, and I just pick them up.
So if there's any other veterans that are listening in on the live stream, if you go to our website, PanamaRelocationTours.com, and in the upper right-hand corner, type in veteran, and you can see the veteran benefits that are available. Some are for, you have to be disabled, some are for retirees, but you can see the benefits that are available. It's not through the VA, but there's veteran clinics that are throughout the country. You can also get prescriptions. There's many, many pharmacies that cater to veterans, and they'll even deliver your medications right to your home. There's a hospital in Panama City called Hospital Breezes that is mostly veterans that go there also. Keep in mind, this is not a VA hospital, but they just bill the VA for your care. So go to our website, Panama Relocation Tours, and type veteran at the top to learn more about the veteran benefits that are available. So it's great that you and your wife have both found the doctors, that can take care of whatever it is that you need in that area.
And
Now,
it's
as
so
far as,
inexpensive. It's so inexpensive to see Dr. Levy. We came in the first time, and he said it's $12, and we
yeah,
thought okay. And then do we get billed, or is that the copay, or nope, $12? That was the
yeah, that's
cost.
it, $12. Yeah.
That was
Well,
it.
that's with the Jubilado discount. It probably would have been 18 without the Jubilado
Yeah,
discount,
yeah.
but
Yeah.
You know, I went to the doctor a couple of weeks ago. I got this stomach bug, and I was just really not feeling well at all. So I went to after 2 days of not getting better, I went to the doctor in Boquete, and it's $15 to see that doctor with a Jubilato discount. That's not a copay. That's, you know, just $15. That's what it costs. And I love the fact that they put everything on paper. It's not a bunch of things that are computerized. They just have this little folder that's all about you. Well, he determined that I needed an IV of some medications, and then he prescribed 2 medications for me. So that 1 hour IV that I took, the consultation, which took about 40 minutes, plus the 2 medications, was $100 for everything without even using any insurance. So many people come to Panama and they're really freaking out. Oh my gosh, well, what if I can't get insurance because I have pre-existing conditions? Well, you might not be able to because you have pre-existing conditions, but you can go see a doctor for $15 or maybe $20. If it's a specialist like a cardiologist, it might be $40 or $50. It's, you know, when you can see a lot of $40 and $50 specialists for what it would cost for premium to get health insurance, so you don't have to worry about that. Also, if you're from the United States and you have a Medicare Advantage plan, it's going to cover any emergencies, like if you have a heart attack or stroke or automobile accident. So you may want to get some kind of catastrophic insurance for the big things that could cost a lot of money. But for the little stuff, like just a doctor visit, $15 out of pocket is a lot cheaper than paying $200 a month for an insurance premium.
Exactly right. Yep.
So since you've been there, sounds like you and your wife have really integrated with the community, and that's the key to happiness here in Panama. If you just sit in your apartment and you watch news from whatever country you're from all the time, and you don't get out there, put yourself out there, like you said, then you're not going to have such a great experience. But you guys have put yourself out there, you've gotten involved in the community, and that makes such a big difference for everybody. But, you know, even whenever you do that, are there things that you miss? What are the things that you miss the most from living in Arizona?
Yeah, I have to say, we really miss being able to go 20 minutes away or 30 minutes away to go visit friends or relatives that were in the area. Mm-hmm. Now it's a planning issue. You got to figure out when you're going to go. You got to line everything up. So in that regard, there is a planning issue. Although, gosh, the airlines go both ways. So there's an opportunity for people to come here to visit in addition to us going back up to the United States. And for them, it's a huge vacation. I mean, you're living in somebody else's house and eating somebody else's food and hanging out at the beach.
Yeah, in a tropical paradise.
Yeah, that's a pretty good deal.
Yeah. What's wrong with that? Yeah, what's wrong with that? It's like going on a vacation but not having to pay for the hotel. So it's a wonderful situation. There is a website called Scott's, SCOTTS, cheapflights.com. And if you subscribe to that, everybody, they publish whenever the different airlines are having these super, super specials. You know, so sometimes like going between Panama City to Austin nonstop, it's $400 round trip. Or $400 round trip to go to Paris, France. So why not? But they'll publish little specials like that all the time. So what doesn't hurt to subscribe to that and see what the specials are coming up from, and use notice when there's a good special and say, hey, look, they got a great deal. Let's go.
My wife is also the best shopper for travel deals. What we've learned is if you have a VPN, if you turn your VPN on different areas, the tickets get cheaper too. So, so you can do that.
Yeah, so for people that don't know, a VPN is a virtual private network. And it's something you're going to absolutely need to learn how to use whenever you move to Panama. If you want to watch Amazon Prime, or if you want to watch Netflix, and if you go to Netflix from Panama, you can get there and it's going to have some movies that you can watch. But if you use a virtual private network to hide your IPN, like you're still in Canada or you're still in the United States, and then you go to Netflix, woo, there's a whole different whole different selection of movies that are become available. Also, like Amazon Prime, you won't be able to get to most of the movies on Amazon Prime. There's very few that are set for traveling, but you're going to have to use a VPN for that. And even other things, like sometimes I need to go to the Secretary of State website for Texas because I have some businesses in Texas. I can't even get to that website from Panama. I have to hide my IP like I'm in Texas for me to be able to go to the Texas Secretary of State website. So
we have the same issue with the VA website. We got the same issue with banking websites up in the States.
yeah,
We have to be in the United States somewhere to be able to access them.
so important message for everybody moving to Panama. There's two things that you absolutely have to learn how to use whenever, better to learn how to use it before you move here. One, you can watch YouTube University. There's a video on everything there to teach you how to do it. One is to use a VPN, or virtual private network, VPN. So watch some videos. One is really, there's two most popular VPNs here are NordVPN and ExpressVPN. Which one do you use, Tim?
We're Express. Yeah, we have ExpressVPN.
Yeah. So Nord and Express, those are the two most popular ones. The other thing that you're going to absolutely have to learn how to do if you're going to survive in Panama is you have to learn how to use WhatsApp. So it's a free app that you can download. So if you have an Android, go to Google Play, put in WhatsApp. It's a little green circle thing, and download that and start using it. What it's going to allow you to do is you can talk free to all your friends and family back home if they also have WhatsApp, and you can send them an invitation to join. But also you can share pictures, you can do a video together. But most importantly, in Panama, almost everybody in Panama, that's their exclusive way of communicating. So your immigration attorney, real estate agents, insurance broker, car broker, the veterinarian that you need to get in touch with at 10 o'clock at night because your pet's throwing up. You need to use WhatsApp for all those things. And then, because many of us, you have an address, but many of us don't even have an address. So you can share your location with WhatsApp, and then it just hooks up so that they know exactly where to go to get to your property if you don't know your address or don't know how to tell people where you are. You can say, turn left at the pink house and then go 2 more blocks and then take a right and then take a real quick left. And you can do all that, or you can just share the location on WhatsApp. So once again, it's something you have to learn how to use before you move to Panama. And go to YouTube, YouTube University. There's tons of videos that say, WhatsApp for beginners, and start watching those videos and start practicing using WhatsApp before you come to Panama, because everybody uses WhatsApp in Panama. If you send an email to someone, they probably won't even see it for a week. If you send them a WhatsApp, you'll get a reply in usually less than an hour, if not within 3 minutes. So you have to learn how to use WhatsApp.
That includes for your taxi driver. It includes for everything. We make
drivers. I placed an order at PriceSmart. PriceSmart is like a Costco here, and you can place an order online and they'll bring it to your house. Well, guess what? You share your location, your WhatsApp location with them. It's how they know how to get to your property, because I don't have an address. So you have to learn how to do the VPN. You have to do the WhatsApp. Start practicing now. If you're planning to move to Panama in the future, then you definitely need to start practicing now so you'll feel comfortable with it. Also, try to get as many of your friends and family as possible on WhatsApp also. Then it's absolutely free. You can call them on WhatsApp. It doesn't cost anything. They can call you on WhatsApp, and it doesn't cost anything. I don't care what country they're in. It's a free phone call, free video conferencing and everything if you're using WhatsApp. So you have to learn how to do that.
Yes.
So what is, in the time that you've been here, I know you love living here, but what's the best thing that's happened to you?
Oh gosh, we have a lot of friends in the building, and there are Canadians that snowbird. Right now our building is about half empty because all the Canadians have gone back to Canada. It's warmer in Canada. During our dry season here, starting in about November, the building fills up. And we have Janet loves Halloween, and she had a Halloween party for everybody in the building, and it was huge. And it was people outside of the building. We invited people to invite people. We had a
Hmm.
massive party in our down by the cabana by the pool. It was so fun to have everybody show up. Most everybody showed up in a costume. It was very, very, very fun. But that sense of community, that pulling everybody together every now and again for a meal. Everybody brought food. We had music. It was just a lot of fun to be able to have the party and just to get together with people that are around the area. We just really, really have enjoyed that aspect of being here locally.
Right. So for people that came in a little bit late and they were asking, where does Tim live? So Tim lives in Gorgona, which is a couple of miles east of Coronado and about an hour and a half west of Panama City. And he lives in a beach community. Gorgona is a beach community. So do you find that most everything you need is there in Gorgona, or do you go to Coronado once a week or once a month? Do you have to go to Coronado very often?
That's a great question. When we first got here, we weren't sure about the mini supers. We didn't have a good sense for them. There's 4 or 5 of them just in Gorgona proper, just in our little area. And so we weren't as confident in that. So we would go to Ray's, or we'd go to Super 99, or Reba Smith or whatever, to find the stuff that we needed. What we found is most of the stuff can be had at any of the minis. And there are a couple of minis that we like. There's some whose bread is fresher than others. There's one whose meat is better than others. So we've gone out to figure out what minis work for us, and we're able to pick pretty much everything. The challenge is Janet bakes, and she needs molasses, or she'll need brown sugar, or she'll need specialist ingredients like that aren't necessarily carried in the mini super. And then we'll have to batch up and go to Coronado. And about once a month, we try to go up to Price Mart in Costa Verde, La Chorrera, and go up there and pick up bulk stuff that we need. 40 pounds of flour.
The $200 store, you can't get out for less than $200, right?
You're right. You're right.
Yeah.
And then you gotta stop and eat a hot dog. So I mean,
Of course.
it's an adventure to go to
Got to
Price
stop
Mart.
along the way. So
Yeah.
the last time I was in Gorgona, there were a lot of little fruit and vegetable stands as you turn off the Pan American Highway to go into Gorgona. There's
Mhm.
just all kinds of little fruit and vegetable stands along there. So I'm sure you probably frequent them also because once again, it's helping the local people with the farmers. The other thing is like pineapples are 50% less if you're buying from a fruit and vegetable stand than in the grocery store. Same thing with papayas and mangoes and everything else. It's fresher and it's 50% less or more, and you're helping the local people as opposed to some great big grocery store.
Well, and there's a guy with a huge truck that loaded with pineapples, and he pulls off in that parking lot that you mentioned, right off of the Pan America there, just as you're entering Gorgona. When we see that guy's pineapple truck, man, we are picking up 2 or 3 pineapples, and you get the ripe ones for today or tomorrow, and you get the
Right.
really green ones for a week from now, because you may
Yeah.
not see him for a week or so until he comes back. But we try our best to get the produce because it's a lot fresher,
A
and
lot.
and it's about, like you say, about half the cost or 3/4 of the cost of going to even
A
a
lot
Super
less.
99.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, whenever I was at a fruit and vegetable stand today because I was just in the mood for pumpkin soup, so I bought a big pumpkin that I could roast in the oven, and I got some um, avocado also. And for the avocado, he said, "Hoy for today or mañana?" I said, "For uno for hoy, uno mañana." So they'll ask you things like that, and
Yeah.
some of them speak a little bit of English. You can always use Google Translate if you need to, until you start learning a little bit of Spanish words.
Hmm.
Did you know that there's a 20-acre watermelon farm in Gorgona?
Yeah. So when it's
And you can
watermelon,
get like five watermelons for $5 there.
yeah, yeah. When the watermelon season is happening, there are lots and lots of people along the road from where we live to the entrance to
And
Pan
Dia.
America. Yeah. Yeah, and boy, those watermelons are so good and they're very cheap.
It's the sweetest, best
Yeah,
watermelons. And, you might spend $3 on watermelon at the grocery store, but it might be $1 if
buck and
you're
a half.
buying from
Yeah,
the local farmer.
yeah, yeah. It works out really, really well. We really enjoy the agricultural aspect of being out here, and
Mhm.
we found we have a UTV. We have access to a mule, we call it,
Mhm.
and we drive up certain roads. We have a picker stick that extends, and we can get mangoes off the trees, or we can get papayas off the trees, or we can get the cashew nuts or the cashew oranges or apples
Yeah,
off the trees.
yeah, and it's
Just
free.
yeah, it's
Yeah,
just and
because they're so in abundant that they'll put a big table in front with a bunch of mangoes on it and say,
pick them up.
just take them.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
take 'em. You
We
also can go right down to the coast where the fishermen come in the morning and buy fresh fish that was just caught.
yeah, we're
Yeah,
not that we never get up early enough to catch those guys because we're not we
okay.
stay up till
You
the
have to you have to get there early because the restaurants go there also to
exactly.
buy the fish that they're going to be cooking that day.
Exactly right, yeah. But
Yeah,
we have a friend that was a Canadian that brought Janet some limes, some of the little tiny limes, and
yeah.
we juiced it up and she made some key lime tarts. Oh my
Hmm.
gosh, those were so good. He started bringing lots and lots of limes to get Janet to cook tarts for him, and we just
For
hand them out
everybody,
around the table.
yeah, for everybody that's listening, I've got to warn you that whenever you go to these fruit and vegetable stands, you're going to see some weird stuff that you've never seen before in your whole life. And don't be afraid to try it. Ask the people, what is it? What's the name of this? And then when you get home, Google it and find out what you can do with it. And don't be afraid to try new stuff. You're going to see some crazy looking stuff that maybe you've never seen before. But just because you've never seen it before doesn't mean it's not absolutely delicious and super nutritious also.
Janet has found stashes of cashew apples or trees with cashew apples, and she'll take the nut off because it's no good unless you process it, and she'll cut it up and make an applesauce with some cinnamon with that cashew apple. It's to die for. We have lots of folks here that are
They
wondering
are.
when the next cashew
Yeah, they
apple.
make a really good apple pie.
They really do. Yeah, it's delicious. Just great.
Hmm. Yep. So before I open it up for questions from the audience, Tim, what advice do you have for anyone that's thinking about coming to investigate Panama or thinking about moving to Panama? What advice would you give them on that would help them have an easy transition to living in
Yeah,
Panama?
great question. So one of the things I would highly suggest is the guide, and I cannot tell you how beneficial the guide has been for us before we got here, learning how to do things. The guide is absolutely key. There are some things you absolutely need to have a fixer or a translator to help you through, but most of the stuff you can do yourself. So if you just need to be persistent and you need to read the guide and you need to understand it, and you can do a lot of the things yourself. It's just use the guide. The guide is step by step by step. It makes it so much easier to come here. We talk to people that are not from this group, Panama Relocation Tours, and they did it on their own. And I have to tell you, I'm unsure as to how they got here on their own, having been through this
Yeah.
process. It is not an easy process if you're out here just winging it, trying to do your own thing and
Well, and you
trying to
can pick
figure it
the
out.
wrong attorney that might charge you $5,000 to get a visa, where ours are going to
Absolutely,
charge, 1,100 to get a visa. Or you can
absolutely.
go to the wrong real estate person that's going to, charge you $1,500, where it happens all the time that they'll charge you way more than the real prices for a property so they can make some extra money. So you have to be careful who you work with here in Panama. That's one of the things that we do in our online Panama relocation guide, by the way, on our website, Panama Relocation Tours. Click on online guide at the top and you can learn more about it. But one of the things that we do was we really vet the people that we recommend. And some people have fallen off. Their service isn't to the standard that we expect it to be. So we've had to let some people go. But whenever we hear good things about other people, we'll monitor them for a while and we add them. Also, if some people start taking advantage and charging, too much for little services that other attorneys is absolutely free, they can, go down on the list. So we really pride ourselves in making sure that you go with the right people, that you can have the confidence that you're getting the best price, you're getting someone that's going to take care of you, and you don't have anything to worry about if you go with the people that we recommend. And then inside the online guide, we also have the list of all of our private tour guides. You took a private tour based on what was in the online guide for private tours. So yeah, if you can't come on a Panama relocation tour, and it may be a little hard between now and the middle of September because they're all sold out, then the online guide is your next best source. And I keep that updated. I just added 3 more things to the online guide today, and I'll be sending out a notice about that. But I'm always keeping it updated. So now, if it's okay with you, I'm going to open it up for questions from the audience. So if anybody has a question for Tim, you're going to have to type it into the chat window, and you must put 3 question marks in front of it. Otherwise, I won't even know that it's a question, because there's this great big conversation going on with everybody else that's over there. It happens every Saturday. It's like a family reunion every Saturday. So here's a question for you, Tim. How often do you and your wife go to Panama City for purely social reasons, day trips or overnight?
It's a great question. Great question. We try to get out about once every 3 months or so. One of the areas we really appreciate in Panama City is the Amador Causeway and the little islands that are connected to the Amador Causeway. There are some nice hotels that are out there. We enjoy those because the Amador tends to be flat, and for obvious reasons, being flat and not being uneven is a big thing for me. But we really have enjoyed the Amador. We go there, I'm going to say, about every 3 months or so, and sometimes we'll stay a couple of nights. You get to recharge after even just a couple of days. So a couple of days away from Gorgona, and we're back in Gorgona and ready to go again. So it's really nice.
It's like going to a completely different country to go to Panama City, because it's so completely different from Gorgona. Really great restaurants, lots of entertainment.
The Jubilado discount is fabulous for the hotel rates in Panama City, and they help you out with your dining too. So works out really well for us. Right.
And the Jubilado discounts for hotels is 30% discount on the weekends and a 50% discount on the weekdays. Now, if you go to like Expedia or Bookings or something like that, you're not going to be able to say, oh, and I get a Jubilado discount. It doesn't work that way. You have to call the hotel to get those kind of discounts for it to work. So here's a good question that comes up often. What about crime in the Gorgona area? Have you heard of anything or experienced anything?
There have been a few instances where people will, as an example, take advantage of people that are on the beach at night, late at night. And there have been people that have gone over and they've taken cell phones, or they've taken wallets and that kind of thing from people, confronted them and taken those sorts of things. So, but like anywhere in the world, you be careful of your environment, you be careful of where you are, right? You just be mindful of where you are. And the only other crime that we're familiar with is opportunistic crime. Like people may hop a fence in a house if they see garden chairs or garden furniture out there, and they'll take the pillows off the garden furniture or that sort of thing. Anywhere in the world, Tucson or Phoenix.
Anywhere in the world, yeah. One of the keys to avoid any crime to you personally is to keep a low profile. You don't need to carry your Gucci bag. You don't need a bunch of diamond rings and fancy clothes. Just keep a low profile. Look at how the Panamanians are dressed, and they dress quite neat. And that's how you should dress too. You don't want to stick out like a sore thumb, because you're already with blonde hair. I can't get away with it. I already stick out like a sore thumb. But you just need to keep a low profile and don't display a bunch of wealth whenever you're anywhere. And
Yeah.
if you leave your cell phone at a table at a restaurant and then walk over 2 tables over to talk to somebody, that cell phone might still be there when you come back to your table, but it might disappear. And that could happen in Dallas, Texas, or Miami, Florida,
Or
or
the airport.
Gorgona,
Or the
or
airport.
any.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's right.
Here's a question. How do you cope with the language barrier, mosquitoes, and the heat and humidity?
Great question. So the language barrier is interesting. We took a Duolingo course, the free Duolingo course on our phones before we moved. And I'm your guy if you want to know about the little girl in the green dress on the yellow bus. Ask me because that's what Duolingo taught me. I'm your guy. But in terms of conversational Spanish, it was not as helpful for us as it might have been. Janet lived in Germany for 7 years, and I traveled internationally a lot, did a lot in France. We think about Spanish and sometimes it comes out French or German, which is not very helpful. We've decided that Google Translate is our friend, but over the last 18 months or so, we've picked up words. Jackie had a suggestion once in one of her videos where before you go to the store, you write a list and then you look at the translation on your Google phone or
Right.
your
Write the
phone.
list in English
Write
and
the list
Spanish
in
to
English
help
and
you learn the
Spanish.
word.
Exactly. And just do that, and pretty soon you start to pick up on what the language is. I understand it a lot better than I can speak it, and I'm grateful for the patience or the tolerance they have. But if you just try to speak a little bit of Spanish, it goes a long way in terms of the relationship with who
It
you're
does.
talking.
And if you make that grocery list in English and Spanish, it helps you learn the Spanish word for the thing that you're buying. But also, if you can't find it, you can go to someone that works there and you can just say, necesito, and point to it. And they'll walk you right to where it
Yeah,
is because
yeah,
things are not always logically arranged the
yeah.
way that you might think they should be here in Panama. So if you have it written in Spanish, you don't have to whip out your Google Translate. You can just show them your list.
The heat,
So, and
and
then,
the heat and humidity issue is a separate problem, particularly down here in Gorgona. We tend to be in the pool midday. And over the last 3 weeks, our pool has been under repair. We really haven't had a pool. Today was the first time to get back in the pool. So we're
mhm.
grateful to be able to do that. But we're 5 minutes from the beach. So if we really wanted to splash off, we could walk down to the beach and just enjoy it. The mosquitoes are not an issue for me because I'm not very sweet. Janet, on the other hand, is the person who has challenges with the mosquitoes. And we just, we bought screens that hang from the doors and the windows so that we can keep the doors open and the screens keep the bugs out. We're
Right.
up on the 8th floor. It's not that big a deal for us.
So do you have a pretty good breeze since you're on the eighth floor across
Usually,
from?
usually we
Yeah.
have a great breeze. It either comes in off the ocean, which makes it really nice. You can hear the pounding of the ocean, particularly at night.
Mhm.
But there's a lot of times at night we'll just leave the doors open because we have those screens down. And it'll just, we just listen to the ocean and the breeze comes through the bedroom. We try our best not to run the air conditioning because your electrical costs will go pretty.
It drives up the electric bill.
Sure.
So what's
Yeah.
the average temperature, daytime temperature there?
86, 88, somewhere in that neighborhood. And the
Mhm.
nighttime temperature is 82, 84. It doesn't ever get really cold here. Now it's the
Yeah.
rainy season, so it's about 10 degrees cooler. And that makes it really nice too, because now you can open your windows and the cool breezes come in, and that makes it because it rains an hour and a half, it really does knock the temperature down.
Yeah. Let me see. I know some questions have slipped right past me over here. Let me find this one. Do you feel any earthquakes? Are you concerned about living in a high rise?
Janet lived in Southern California for quite a while and in Hawaii where they have a lot of earthquakes. When we came here, we did our research. Earthquakes here happen for the most part on the Pacific side off the coast as opposed to in on the Isthmus of Panama itself. So we've figured out that we hear about the earthquakes and you see the result of the waves coming up and crashing on the shore. But we really
Mhm.
don't feel the earthquakes because the construction here is cement and the buildings don't move. We don't lose anything off of shelves or anything like that. There have been a couple of instances, but the epicenter of the earthquakes tend to be offshore.
Yeah, like 10 miles, 10, 20 miles offshore. And if you're not like in your house and sitting real still, maybe watching TV, you might feel a little wiggle. But if you're out walking around or in your car or doing other things, an earthquake would happen and you wouldn't even feel it. It's that way there and where I am too. Um,
Oh,
Tim, did you bring a cat with you or adopt one once you moved there?
you're looking at the cat on the couch on behind my screen over here.
Uh-huh.
Nancy, Arizona. And in fairness, Nancy was Janet's cat. Before we got married, it was actually her daughter's cat. Janet inherited, you know how that goes. But Janet ended up with the cat. And gosh, it was a skinny little thing when we were in Washington because she had acreage and she could run around and chase the bunnies and the squirrels. Then we moved to Tempe and it was way too hot for her to go outside, and she became El Gato Gordo, very, very large. And now she's doing a lot better. She has the ability to have the views outside, but we leave our door open to get the cross breeze, the front door open, and she'll just
Mhm.
wander out into the community area of our floor. She's walked into people's houses before and just kind of hangs out with people, and everybody knows Nancy. Everybody hangs out with Nancy. So she's just kind of a fixture now. She's really, really fun. She was a challenge to bring here, and I will say that's the most intense part of moving is that
Yeah,
timeline.
stressful. Yeah.
It's that timeline to get everything taken care of, to get it apostolized, to get everything lined up and ready to go, because it's such a closed window. It's 10 days.
10 days. Yeah. All has to
So,
happen within 10 days. So
so
it
that's really
is a
the
bit,
most stressful thing for us.
yeah. But it's so worth it to have your fur baby with you. Once you get there, then all that stress goes away. So it's
It is.
good.
Yeah.
So Jess wants to know, is your condo quiet or can you hear your neighbors due to thin walls?
We're more concerned about them being able to hear us because I put the TV up really loud. And we stay up really late at night, so we're way more concerned. But this construction in this building is all cement walls and cement floors, and below us cement ceilings. But right now, because the buildings, we are the only people on the 8th floor out of 6 units. All the rest of them are Canadians or part timers. We have one other person who's been here for a week or so on the 8th floor, but gosh, right now we're the only guys on the 8th floor. So it's really been, we don't hear anybody, nobody hears us. What you do hear is when you're moving furniture across the floor, and
Right.
that you hear the vibrations, but that's hardly the problem. The biggest
Mhm.
problem are the people that go down to the beach all night and the big speakers in the back of their cars, so they lift up the trunk lid and
Boom, boom,
all night.
boom, boom,
Yeah,
boom.
all night, all night. That's a bigger problem than everybody in the building.
Yeah. So you talked a little bit about that whenever you went on your private tour that you saw the condo that you're in during the private tour. So you found your condo during the private tour. Did you rent it at that time or
No. Yeah, no. When we first came here, we lived in Coronado for 10 days in a rental house while we looked for which apartment we wanted to be in. There's one close to us called Royal Palm. There's another one that's the Bahia or La
Mhm.
Serena. All of those are in Gorgona. We looked at all of those properties while we were here on our tour. The reason we picked this is because it was smaller. We felt like it was a smaller community, a more close-knit community.
And
And
only
it really,
800 a month too. You can't beat that.
yeah, oh yeah. But we just, for the 48 units that are in our apartment, we've gotten to know pretty much everybody that's in the building. And
Mhm.
gosh, there are people from South Africa or Switzerland or Brazil or Bavaria, or there's just lots of different nationalities that are here. A lot of Panamanians. Was a lot of fun. But we went through the owner of the apartment. When we heard that this place was for rent, We grabbed the owner. We hustled over and talked to the owner directly. And when we talked
Good.
to it was on the market through a realtor for $875 a month. But because we went directly to the owner, he didn't have to pay the $75 a month to the real estate
Right.
agent who made the referral. We got it for $800 a month, and that
And
includes the condo units.
let me make a little recommendation for anybody that's looking for a condo, whether it's in Panama City or especially at the beaches area. Some condo complexes, a lot of the units have been bought and then they're put on Airbnb and they rent it out on the weekend for people that are going to cram 3 families into a 2 bedroom and party all weekend long. So it's just like a revolving door. You never know who your neighbors are going to be, but a lot of the units are Airbnb, and it's also prone to more noise because of that, because they go there to party, especially on the 4 or 5 day Panamanian holidays. So whenever you're looking for a condo complex, you need to ask, do they allow these units to be rented out as an Airbnb? Some condo complexes say, no rentals for less than 30 days. Some say no rentals for less than 6 months. Some say we don't care, as long as they buy it and pay the HOA fees, we don't care. That's an important question that you need to find out, is if they're going to, if your neighbor, you never know who your neighbors are going to be, because it's Airbnb on both sides of you and it's always changing all the time. It's better to live in a place where you get to know your neighbors.
Yeah.
Much better. So when you moved to Panama, Tim, did you ship any household goods?
Ooh, I'm going to tell a tale on myself. We did not follow Jackie's advice.
Oh,
I know, huh? What we did is we brought 14 suitcases with us.
okay. Well, 14 suitcases isn't bad. Did you ship a container also?
No, just the 14 suitcases, and
Okay.
that was our starting thing. We paid a lot of excess luggage, but
Right.
we had 14 suitcases plus Nancy when we in her carrier when we came up here.
So, if you fly business class on an airplane, then you can get two 70-pound suitcases each.
Yep.
As opposed to flying economy, you get one 50-pound suitcase and that's it. And then you have to pay extra for anything more. So one way to get 14 suitcases here is to pay the extra fee at the airline to get all those 14 suitcases. But the other thing you can do is they have companies in Panama, they're called mail forwarding companies. And we have an article about it on our website. If you search Amazon, you can read about mail forwarding companies. You can actually ship maybe 12 of those suitcases to Florida and then have it delivered right to your house whenever you get here. Then you don't have to come with 14 suitcases. But, if you just want to bring it, you can bring it. For bringing 14 suitcases is still much cheaper than shipping all your household goods in a 20-foot or a 40-foot container.
I want to say it was about $1,000 by the time we got done paying all the excess fees. It wasn't huge.
Cheap price.
And then every time we go home, we have a storage unit at home because we weren't sure what to take or not to take. Turns out that wood furniture here, not your friend. Like, the wood cabinets or the wood, bedside tables would just get eaten up by the humidity. It would not be a good thing. So we've gone home and cleaned out storage units and boxed things up that we thought we would need and shipped them to our mail forwarder in Miami and had them ship it to us. But we still have bins of things in a storage unit back home that eventually we're going to have all of that stuff show up. But we go back enough that we can fill up another 2 or 3 suitcases and haul it on the airplane if we need to.
Right. So do you use the mail forward? You order from Amazon or Walmart or things like that and get stuff shipped in every once in a while?
And Janet scolds me frequently for ordering too much on Amazon. And we just have Amazon Prime. It gets sent directly using Amazon Prime for free to our mail forwarding address, to our Fastbox address. And then we pay by the pound to have it shipped
about
here.
$3 a pound to get it here.
Yeah. So it works out really, really well. Does it increase the cost of the item? Yep. Should you order mixing bowls, glass mixing bowls like I did that weigh a gazillion pounds? Nope, because they've got glass mixing bowls here. But I did
Yeah,
that.
check the weight. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, I did that, and the glass mixing bowls ended up costing 3 times as much as they would have had we gone to Machatazo. But
right. And
yeah,
in your area, in Coronado, Gorgona area, there's so many places to go shopping there between Arocha and Machantazo. You can find pretty much any, in Price Mart, you
anything
can
you want.
find
Yeah,
anything you need.
pretty much.
And then you can always go to Panama City and have a day or two of shopping in Panama City and probably get what you want. But if you're like me, I hate shopping. I would rather order it from Amazon and get it shipped here than have to drive down to David and go shopping for anything. I
Yeah,
just hate shopping.
that's me.
So, there's something for everybody here.
Albrook Mall, though, in Panama City, when we go to the city, is always a stop. We always
Yeah,
go to Albrook Mall to go through and find. We found
absolutely.
clothes, and we've taken clothes out of our closet that we know we're never going to use and given them away and replaced them with clothes that are valuable here.
So Monique wants to know if the $800 for your rent, what bills are included with that? Probably not electricity, but anything else?
We don't have to pay water. We don't have to pay for gas. We don't have to pay for the HOA fees. The only things we pay for are the internet, and I provide content to an apologetics website, so I need an upload, a pretty good bandwidth to upload video content. So I pay a little bit extra for for the bandwidth, but that's separate, and the electricity is separate. And then, of course, our cell phones, but that's the cost of doing business.
Yeah, cell phone's like $30 a month. It's not very much. So
Right.
one last question. Did you ship your car to Panama or did you buy one when you got here?
Janet had a little tiny red BMW that would have bottomed out in the first big uh, pothole. We could not bring that poor thing here, so we didn't have a car for a
Something with
while.
a little high clearance.
Yeah, no, little tiny,
Is better.
almost. Yeah, it was just a little red
Yeah.
convertible. She looked really good in it, but it just would have not done well here at all. So we sold that
Mhm.
before we came, and we didn't have a car. We still don't own a car.
Oh,
We have a friend that lives in a unit across the way here that has a mule, and he's never here. He lives in Florida, so he's handed us the keys and said, "Take care of my mule, drive it, put gas in it, change the oil." We take care of his mule while he's gone and drive
what
it
a
around
deal.
locally. Yeah. And then we've got another guy that has said you can borrow the car because he's here, gosh, I'd say a couple of months out of every 6 or so. He's here 4 months out of the
Mhm.
year at different times. We are able to use his car. But I think I can answer this by saying I would buy a car in Panama because what I've learned is if you have a car shipped in like a BMW, the parts that you get here aren't necessarily going to work for that vehicle. That causes you to have parts shipped in from the United States or from wherever in order to be able to service your vehicle. And it's a lot better to get a car that's sold in Panama so that you can get it serviced in Panama. And
It's
that's
also
really good.
already registered in Panama because if
Yeah,
you ship in a car, there's a 22% import tax, plus you have to get the car re-registered as a Panama car, which
yeah,
can all be very, very expensive.
expensive. Yeah,
Also, when I've been to Gorgona, you see those little taxis all over the place. So
yeah.
if you wanted to go to Coronado, if you wanted to go to Panama City, you can get on the bus and go to Panama City for what, $4 or $5?
We had a
Um,
great time. We did the white bus, the little tiny buses, for the first
uh-huh.
time we were in Panama City, and we fumbled our way through it and figured out how to get the ticket and get on the bus. It was a lot of fun. We had a great time on the little
Yeah.
white buses, and they
Yeah, and
brought
then
us
there's
right down to
buses
the
that go from
entrance.
Panama City to Gorgona, and then you can get a taxi to take you to your house. So taxis are readily available. The bus system in Panama is fantastic. You
It
can
is.
get from point A to point B for really, really cheap. Even to go from like Chiriquí province, where I live on the far western side of Panama on the Costa Rica border, to go all the way to Panama City, an 8-hour drive. And with the Jubilado discount, it's $18 to go all the way across country.
Yeah.
So
It's
you can
cheap.
get by. Even if you didn't have the mule to be able to use, just using taxis, you can get by. And where you are, you can walk to so many different little restaurants that are right there. So
And
you don't have to jump in a car every time you're going to go someplace. And there's some mini grocery stores that are there. There's fondas that are there, all within walking distance.
Yep.
So if you live in a place that has the things that you need close by, you can get by without a car.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, we've done
It's
really well.
it's a lot cheaper to use a taxi 10 times a month than to buy a car, too.
You're exactly right.
Yeah. So, Tim, I want to thank you so much for sharing all this information about moving to Panama and what your life is like here. Sounds like you found your paradise for sure, you and your wife both.
It's a lot of fun. We're having a great time.
I'm so happy for you both. Yeah, so thank you for doing the live stream, and thank you everybody that was on the live stream for joining us this Saturday and for your questions. I hope you all learned something new. If you got in a little bit late, you might want to watch the replay so you can hear the first part of the live stream. But Tim, I hope you enjoy the rest of your weekend. Thanks again.
We sure will. Bye-bye now.
Bye. Thanks, everybody.